Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So coming to you today, coming to you this morning. I don't know when this video is going to get posted, but I'll try to film it and post it all in the same day. But I was sitting here driving. I'm on my way to pick up my daughter's the deer meat from the buck that she killed and the deer meat from the buck that I killed. So I'm heading over to Weaver's Meat Processing in Hartselle, Alabama, and I was driving. I'm by myself, but of course I was talking to myself because, you know, if you're like me, that's just what you do while you're driving. And I was thinking about the types of bullets that people use for hunting applications. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm extremely weird and I'm the only person that does this on planet Earth. But I was thinking about the bullets that I use and the bullets that I recommend people use. And I started there at that baseline, right? Which, if you guys have followed along on the channel, you know that I'm a really big fan of monolithic bullets. So think something like a Barnes, something like a Meguiar Ballistics, something like a Hammer bullet, North Fork bullets. They make a solid copper bullet. So think of monolithically constructed bullets. Big fan of those for hunting purposes. And bonded bullets as well. So you can think of something like a Federal Fusion. I believe that's a bonded bullet, but I think it's made by Speer. I think Speer makes it for Federal. The Speer Gold Dot, which is absolutely hands down one of my favorite hunting bullets, if they make it in, you know, your caliber that you can load for whatever cartridge you have in that caliber. Huge fan of that bullet. Something like a Nosler AccuBond. It's another, obviously, extremely popular bonded bullet to choose. So I started with that baseline of understanding of my point of view on it. And so then I started to think through, now why do I recommend those bullet construction methods to people, right, who are, and I'm talking about people that, you know, either they ask me, you know, in the comment section on YouTube or Instagram, whatever the case may be. If someone asks me that question, what bullet would you recommend? I kind of go down this rabbit hole, and same thing whenever like a family member or a close friend goes, hey, I just bought a 308, right? I just picked me up a 308 Winchester. I was wondering if you could work up a hunting load for it. What do you think? And I'm like, yep, no problem. I got you. Bring the gun over to the house. We'll check it all out. Yeah, I'll tear it down completely and put everything back together. Make sure we're starting from a good baseline. And generally, my question to them is, what bullet do you normally shoot? What ammunition do you normally shoot? What bullet do you normally shoot? What grain weight? That I try to kind of understand their thought process and where they're coming from on what they choose and why they choose that particular bullet. Most of the time, generally speaking, people don't really have a specific reason as to why they choose what they choose to shoot out of their gun. Most of the time it's, well, it was on sale. Well, so-and-so told me, you know, that it shoots good in their gun, so I used it in mine and it shot pretty good, so I just kept using it. Generally, that's as far as it goes, right? There's, on average, I would say there's not a ton of testing that takes place for the average person that goes and hunts, right? They go to Walmart, they go to their local gun store, they go to Cabela's, they go to Academy, they go wherever, right, grab a box of ammo. Generally speaking, they're not going to get the most expensive box of ammo. This is your average guy, which I fall into that category. If I were going out buying factory ammunition to hunt with, it probably would not be the most premium stuff, right? Just me personally. I would go out, I would get something that I thought was good enough to get the job done. Generally speaking, that's on the cheaper side. And then it shoots halfway decent, so that's what they use, and they just stick with it. Unless something else comes up on sale, and then they give it a try, whatever. So then I kind of go down the thought process, and I explain to them, well, if I'm going to work up a hunting load for you, I'm going to choose the bullet, and I'll get everything squared away for you. I'll make sure it shoots really well in your gun. I'll get your scope zeroed, get you good to go, right? Squared away, ready to go kill stuff. And I often, I don't know if I've just said this over and over to myself so much that I believe it to be just absolute fact. But I'm really just such a huge fan of the monolithically constructed bullets or bonded bullets. And the reason that I boil it down to, kind of condense everything down into this thought, is that if I'm in the woods or if I'm out hunting, and keep in mind, when I say that I'm out hunting, I don't mean that I'm going to take a shot on an elk at 800 yards. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not hunting to me. Okay, that's not hunting to me on my personal level of what I do in terms of hunting. Hunting to me is, because I love to bow hunt, hunting to me is getting as close as humanly possible. And I know there are some instances, I feel like people blow this way out of proportion, but I feel like, yes, there are some cases where you just can't get closer. So a long shot, got it, that happens. But I feel like, again, this might be a hot take here, I feel like a lot of people would rather not attempt to close the distance and just fire off a couple shots, see if they can hit the animal. It's a hot take, whatever, take it or leave it, don't really care. But for me, my goal is to get absolutely as close to that animal. Oh man, I got those suckers. My goal is to get as close to that animal as humanly possible to take a shot on it. And again, that part of that's because I love to bow hunt. And so I love the challenge of trying to get in as close as I can to that animal without it knowing that I'm there. Well, when that happens, and, you know, the buck of a lifetime, it ain't even got to be the buck of a lifetime, a doe walks out, right, at 40 yards, then what I want to make sure is that no matter the shot angle, the bullet that I choose will be able to, more than likely, deliver 2 holes out of that deer. That's what I'm looking for whenever I shoot a deer. I'm looking for a bullet that is going to hit the animal, expand upon entry. Nothing crazy, but it's going to expand. It's going to carry through the animal, and it's going to punch out the other side of the animal. The vast majority of the time, right? You're talking 9 times out of 10, right? Or 99 times out of 100, because that's even a little bit higher percentage if you want to go that route. It's going to punch through, carry through completely on that animal. Now you're left with 2 holes in that animal versus 1 hole in that animal. Now the reason I like that is because if and really when that deer takes off, because again, the majority of the time, unless you're taking a shot in the neck, certain regions of the deer where it's more likely to just drop where you hit it, chances are that deer might take off and run for a few yards, right? It might run 30, 40, 50, 100 yards, okay? Guess what? That deer don't want to die, right? So, yeah, it's going to take off and it's going to run. Despite them being thin-skinned creatures, they don't want to die. So, whenever they're hit, they kind of take off. That adrenaline pumps and they take off. No matter where you hit them, they do their best to get out of dodge and not die. So, but if there's 2 holes in that animal, the logic in the thought process is there's going to obviously be more blood or more opportunity for blood to be pumped out of that animal versus if there's just 1 hole. So if you do happen to go, you know, hey, I got to go blood trail this deer, having 2 holes in that deer is better than 1. That's just kind of what I keep coming back to. And especially for the people that, because part of it too is I don't know, I have no clue. The people that I'm loading ammo for, like my friends and my family, that's who I do it for. I have no clue in terms of how they hunt, how their setup is, the shot angles that they're going to be presented right on deer. I can only assume. I'm having to assume worst case scenario, because the last thing I want to do is load up a bunch of ammo, give it to somebody, and then they go out into the deer woods and it's the buck of a lifetime, and it's a hard quartering 2 shot, and they shoot it, and you know, you hear people talk about, oh, well, the bullet skipped off the shoulder blade, something weird, whatever, or maybe it's a bullet that's extremely thin jacketed and is supposed to have violent expansion, and it's not designed to leave that animal. It's designed to dump all of its energy into the animal. Who knows, right? And crazy things happen all of a sudden. They don't recover the deer, right? And now they're looking at me going, dude, they're looking at me going, I made a perfect shot. Seriously. It's weird on the autofocus. They're looking at me going, hey, I made a perfect shot. I know I did. What's going on? Why didn't it work? You know, whatever. So to build in as much margin as humanly possible and reduce, right? It's really risk mitigation is what it is. That's why I choose the style of bullets that I choose. It is purely risk mitigation. So when I'm in the woods and there's variables that I can't control, coming through a school zone, better slow down. And there's variables that I can't control, like what angle I'm going to be presented a shot with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how that deer is going to present itself. I want to know that I have 100% confidence in my ammunition to get the job done, right? At the distances that I'm going to be hunting and shooting, okay? But, and like I've said in the past, I've never, not that I won't, but I've never taken a shot beyond, it's like 185 yards. That's the longest shot I've ever taken on an animal. I take that back. This past summer, when I was hunting hogs in Texas, I took that shot on that pig. It was 275 yards and killed it. It ran about 20 yards or so and dropped over. Shot that with the McGuire Ballistics. McGuire Ballistics Copper Rose bullet out of my 30 Thompson Center. And it wasn't going super fast. I mean, I can't remember. I have to go back and look at the load data on that. I mean, it couldn't have been going 2,700 feet per second. But it was I think it's 165 grain or 168 grain Copper Rose bullet that McGuire Ballistics makes. It's the non-hollow point version. Killed that pig at 275 yards. That's the longest shot I've ever taken on an animal. But on a white-tailed deer, it's 185 yards. It was a doe. Killed it with a 223 open tip match bullet. It was a Barnes match burner. I don't hunt like that anymore. That was way back. That was 10 years ago. Put that bullet exactly where it needed to be, destroyed the heart, and the deer flopped over and dropped 15 yards, kind of rolled down the little ridge there, 15 yards, and the deer was dead. So, but circling back, that's the reason why I choose the types of bullets that I choose. Bonded bullets, monolithically constructed bullets, and it just kind of comes down to what I was saying, risk mitigation on not knowing the shot angle that I'll be presented with. Just like when I killed my 6-point. So I got my 6-point, right here in the back of I got the head in the back of my vehicle, because once I pick up this deer meat, I'm gonna head out to Shaddles and Son taxidermy and pick up my 2 bucks from last year and drop off my daughter's 5-point and my 6-point. I'm gonna get Euro mounts done on those. So when I shot this 6-point, just whatever it was, you know, a month ago, whenever it was I killed that deer, less than that maybe, you know, the shot angle wasn't optimal. It was a quartering 2 shot. The deer, I was sitting on the ground and the deer was walking down a trail. Well, he was quartering to me. And you guys, if you go back and watch the video, you saw the entry and the exit, right? So you can see the angle at which, I show that on the video, you can see the angle from entry to exit. So it was a quartering 2 shot, but I had enough faith and confidence in my 270 Winchester and the load that I had developed using the Meguiar Ballistics Copper Rose bullet, the 128 grain in the 277 diameter. I had enough confidence in that combination to put it on the front shoulder, quartering 2, right on the front shoulder, right where I hit the deer, and it smoked it. Punched all the way through, good size exit hole, dead deer, right? And so, and that wasn't the buck of a lifetime, but that was a really good buck for me, and especially being on public land. So that was one where I didn't want to run the risk of using a combination that might not perform up to sort of my level of expectation, right? So that's really kind of what it boils down to. We had to get down in it for a second. Had to pass a couple people. Concrete truck was driving, and he's driving under the speed limit, so had to kind of get around him. So that's really, you know, that wasn't the buck of a lifetime, but that's a really good deer, especially being on public land. Like I don't know. I don't have access to, you know, multiple plots of private land. I don't have my own private land. I'm not in a lease. I don't have a lease on land. I'm not in a hunting club. It's what I hunt local and close to me is public land. Now, yes, my dad and my uncle, they have some land out over closer to Mississippi. It's literally a 2-hour drive from my house to pull into where that plot of land is. But I think I've been out there a couple of times, maybe twice this season. I took my daughter out there, and then, that's it. I think I've been there twice. I took my daughter out there twice, and I think that's it. That's where she killed her 5-point. So, and that's really what that area is really, really good for, is the ability to have a higher chance and probability of seeing deer, because the way they manage that property. But outside of that, I hunt public land. So if I see a 6-point, guess what? He's gonna hit the dirt. So that's just kind of, I know it's a lot of rambling, a lot of whatever, but I was sitting here, I was driving, and I'm like, man, I'm saying all of this stuff, and I'm going through and I'm rethinking, okay, but why do I think that? Why do I feel that way about bullet construction, right? Why do I think it matters? Why does it matter to me, you know? And I think, or at least it seems like, maybe a lot of people don't do that, right? They don't think through, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why did I choose the cartridge that I chose to go hunt with? And why did I choose the ammunition that I chose? Why did I choose the scope, right? Why, you know, it's sort of getting back to fully understanding, right? What is the requirements? Right? You're trying to meet a certain level of requirements that you've set for yourself. certain level of expectation that you've placed on you to get the job done, what do you need to do to get that done, right? So for me, when it comes to bullet recommendations and that type of stuff, you know, you're definitely going to hear me, and you're probably going to get tired of hearing it. I'm a really big fan of monolithically constructed bullets and bonded bullets. Now, I know there's going to be people that say, well, what about cup and core? You know, I've used whatever. Name your cup and core, and they kill every deer I've ever shot at. I got it. That's fine. I'm not saying they won't kill deer. I never said that. You use whatever works best for you. I'm not here to argue a point. I'm not here to try to sway you one way or the other. But what you do need to understand is think through why you use what you use. Make sure it's not, well, because daddy and them and mama and them and so-and-so and them and uncle so-and-so and grandpa this and that, and that's what they used, and they killed deer, so that's what I'm going to use, and it's worked for me. Yeah, but like, that's one way to look at it, but try to understand why it works the way that it works, right? Kind of go down that rabbit hole. Take it to another level deeper on the thought process and really understand for yourself, like, why does it work the way that it works, right? Is it the shot distance cup and core style bullets? Is it I'm taking shots a little bit long, you know, maybe they're a little bit longer distance shots, so a cup and core bullet, its terminal performance is really good because I don't need as much velocity as what I would need with something like a monolithic bullet that really needs more velocity to work properly at extended ranges, which is why once you go past a certain point on the monolithic, cup and core kind of, in my opinion, would be a better option to use at extended ranges for hunting. But within a certain window, operating window, performance window, monolithic or bonded would be the way that I would go. So, another school zone. We got schools around here like we got churches. They're on every corner. No, I'm just kidding. But that's it. Those are my thoughts. Another long, rambly video. I know you guys love these, but my plan is to get over here, pick up the deer meat. I'm going to do a couple of separate videos as well, and I'm going to show what I ordered from Weavers. So I'll actually show you guys what I got between the two deer, and then I will do a separate video on my bucks from last year, because I'm picking them up hopefully today, picking them up from Shadows and Son Taxidermy. That's the plan, at least. Hopefully he'll text me back. Gonna go drop off the 5-point, my daughter's 5-point, my 6-point, got it back here in the back seat. Gonna drop them off, gonna pick up my 8-point, my 9-point from last year, and so I'll do a video about those, so that way, because I did a video dropping them off, so I want to do a follow-up so you guys can kind of, you guys can see the quality. So I got a couple more videos I want to throw in here that are kind of non-reloading related, but I do have that 6.5 PRC stuff loaded up, so I'm going to also try to hit the range possibly today, get that stuff shot, and have a results video for you real quick, or real soon. But outside of that, hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope you have enjoyed keeping me company while I'm on my way out here. It's like an hour drive for me to get to Weaver's meat processing, so you guys have taken up a good 25 minutes of that, so I really appreciate that. But that's it. Let me know in the comments what bullet type do you use or have you had the most success with, and also really probably what I would rather know is what bullet type have you had the least amount of success with. Right? I see SSTs thrown around quite a bit, Hornady SSTs thrown around quite a bit as a particular bullet that people either they love it or they absolutely hate it and they've lost a lot of deer. So I would be interested to hear feedback from y'all on that particular topic. So if you don't mind, drop a comment down below. Let me know what bullet you use now that you've had great success with. And it would be nice to know the shot distance too. Like, what is your average shot distance, right? Is it 100 yards? Whatever, right? 400 yards. It would just be nice to know. So, all right, that's it. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.